Hi there gorgeous, and a very happy Frugal Friday to you. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I make videos like this every Friday focusing on drugstore makeup. So if you'd like to be notified of new content like this in the future, please subscribe, and thank you if you do. Today I am doing the Drugstore Makeup TAG. This was created by Jen Phelps for 2020. This was, I take it, a refresher to an old tag that she had found on YouTube, and she just updated it for this year. And I love the questions for this tag, and I've seen so many of you asking me to do this and how perfect it would be for Frugal Fridays, and you're so right. So I'm looking forward to getting into this. If you have not seen Jen's video, by the way, I will have it linked for you below in the description box, and feel free to answer these questions right along with me because I want to hear your answers too. First question is, if you could only use one drugstore or affordable brand, what would it be? This took a little bit of thinking for me, but I think it would be e.l.f. Cosmetics. I have become so in love with the products that they have been making. They have really increased their quality, and 9 times out of 10, I am very impressed with what I try from their brand. So that would definitely be my choice. Second question, what's the most underrated drugstore or affordable brand? I'm in between two right now, and I'm going to mention them both because I do feel like they are such underdogs in the drugstore makeup section, but they are just of amazing quality, and I feel like they're not given as much attention on YouTube as they should have for how great that they are. And that is Catrice Cosmetics and Profusion Cosmetics. Now, you can find Catrice Cosmetics in Ulta stores, and you can find Profusion usually at Walmart. I think they have a really big display there now. I think Target might carry them also. But these two companies are just amazing. I have been really enjoying a lot of the face products from Catrice. The powder is some of my favorite powder products. The primer is one of my favorites from them. And then from Profusion Cosmetics, I really just love their eyeshadow palettes. Some of the best, most high quality drugstore eyeshadows that you can get for the price. And I'm just blown away by both of those companies. So if you've not checked out any makeup from those brands, would highly recommend it. Next question, what is the most overrated drugstore affordable brand? This one was hard for me to answer. I actually had a couple answers to it, but I ended up drilling it down to Neutrogena. I don't know, you don't hear Neutrogena talked about that much, and everything I've tried from them, I've just not been like wowed with. It's kind of been, and I feel like when I hear people rave about some of their products, which isn't that often, by the way, I'm just not really inspired to check them out. And I don't know that I ever would be. What is your favorite drugstore product under $5? It's gonna have to be a Wet n Wild palette, and that would be Petalette. This is probably one of my most favorite eyeshadow palettes from the drugstore of all time. I love it because it's purple, and it has some really beautiful purples in it. Super pigmented. Affordable, quality, compact. I mean, what more could you want? It's the perfect under $5 product. What is a hidden gem from the drugstore that no one talks about? I got the perfect product for that. This Unicorn Glow blush, so blusher. This is in the shade Honey, the one that I'm showing you here. I don't think I hear enough people talk about this on YouTube. This was one that I stumbled across when I was in a CVS not too long ago, and I did a video including it in. I don't know if it was a must-haves or must-nots, but I was so happy with this blush. It is very pigmented. You get amazing color payoff with it. It lasts all day. It will not fade on your cheeks. And even though this color kind of threw me, it looks really beautiful. It takes me back to that 90s neutral brown matte theme that I personally still love to this day. But it made me want to check out other products from this brand. I haven't had the opportunity to do so because I haven't really been in a store that much, but yeah, it's one worth looking into. What is your favorite drugstore foundation? Now here I'm kind of stuck in between two, and I'll tell you why. One is a skin tint that doesn't really give you that full coverage. It's more or less a way to correct imperfections, minor imperfections on the skin, and give you a even appearance. The other one is a little bit more full coverage. And so the first one that I had mentioned is from Pixie Cosmetics, and that is their H2O Skin Tint. And like I had mentioned, I love it for its flawless coverage, a very skin-like finish. It doesn't look like I'm wearing anything when I wear this, and it wears really well all day. Not a fan of the price tag of this one, but it is one that I liken to my Laura Mercier tinted moisturizer. It's very comparable to that one, and it's half the price. So when I think of it from that perspective, I don't really mind spending that amount of money on it. The other one is the number 7 Beautifully Matte Foundation. This is one that provides the most beautiful coverage on the skin. I wouldn't consider it full coverage. It's a more light to medium coverage foundation. It does give a soft velvet appearance on the skin. It's not as a mattifying drying effect on the skin. It doesn't give your skin texture. It looks very skin-like, like the Pixie foundation that I had mentioned. And so these two have become my go-tos. I'm getting away from those really full coverage heavy foundations the older that I get, and I'm allowing my skin to be skin, and I love seeing my skin. I just like to hide the freckles. That's my personal hang up. That's something that I'm gonna have to get over. Anyway, next question. What products do you tend to buy more at the drugstore versus high end? And I wrote down the kind of products. I didn't really mention any brands or any specific ones, but I usually will go for mascara, eyeliner, brow products, lip liners, things like that. I will more or less spend more money on those in the drugstore than I will high end. When it comes to high end, I'll spend more on foundations, concealers, powders, things like that that I'm not using up instantaneously, because I feel like mascaras, eyebrow products, eyeliners need to be replaced more often. And so when you're spending a high price tag on those kind of products, it starts to add up over time. Which drugstore brand do you think is overpriced? Oh, without a doubt, Pixie Cosmetics. This is one of those brands where I've tried a few of their products, by the way, with the exception of that skin tint, and I've not been impressed. And I feel like when you're charging $16, which I think that's what they charge, for an eyeliner, when you have something that high priced, it should be really, really, really good. And one of the eyeliners that I tried from that brand just was awful in terms of pigment and color payoff. And it took me so much effort to get it onto my eyes, and it didn't last worth a flip either. So it just too overpriced for me to want to go forward, knowing some of the quality that I've experienced with it. It's just not been good. But I will say, if you are a drugstore brand and you do overprice yourself and all of your products are top quality and they're 9 times out of 10 good, like the e.l.f. Cosmetics brand, well, yeah, then you can justify that price. But I don't feel like Pixie Cosmetics can do that. Next question is, what's your favorite drugstore dupe? I'm going to go with my all-time favorite drugstore dupe. It's one that I wear all the time. I am replacing more often than not, and that is the Rimmel lip liner in the shade Addiction. This is an exact match to MAC's lip liner in the shade Staunchly Stylish. So if you love that color, you can get it for a lot less at the drugstore. And I'm wearing it again today. It's one of those that I wear practically every single day. It pairs up beautifully with lipsticks that maybe be a little bit too nude for my coloring, or ones that I want to add a little bit more color into. If you're of my complexion, a little bit darker, I think you would really love it too. What is the best drugstore eyeshadow formula? Hands down, it's gotta be Wet n Wild. I mean, it's just point, period, blank. There you go. Next, what's the world's worst drugstore? World's worst. What's the worst? The worst drugstore eyeshadow formula? CoverGirl, without a doubt. I mean, that was the first brand that came to my mind when that question came up. I don't think I've ever been sublimely happy with any of the eyeshadows that I've tried from CoverGirl. They are powdery, they're chalky, they're lacking in pigment, and I don't care how many times that you come out with a new formula, it's still the same one. Ugh. Drugstore brand you used to love but aren't crazy about anymore. Almay Cosmetics. This was one brand that I distinctly remember using a lot before I got on YouTube. I loved their eyeshadows. You remember the ones that they had for the different color eyes? I used to love the one for green eyes and hazel eyes. Those were my favorite quads, and I used them all the time, and I bought several of them. This was long before YouTube, because I was going through them and I would use them up, hit pan, have no eyeshadow left, that kind of using them up. And I always got compliments every time I wore them, but I feel like their brand has, I don't know, the eyeshadows are not that good anymore. Some of the foundations, not that good anymore. Not from what I remember so many years ago. And I'm probably talking about at least 11 years ago, if not 12 or 13. Next question is drugstore product you didn't expect to like, but totally wowed you. Those Maybelline Color Strike eyeshadow pens, I reviewed those in last Friday's video. They are amazing. I really didn't expect much the first time I swatched it. And then when I looked at it in the case too, when I was considering getting it when I was in Walmart, I was like, I don't know. But they have really exceeded my expectations. And I'm just so happy that they are that good. Last question. Favorite affordable eyeshadow palette right now? Wet n Wild's 32 pan eyeshadow palette. I love this palette. Not only is it affordable, you get 32 eyeshadows in here. Now granted, these are repeats of a lot of their palettes. If you own a good majority of their 10 pan palettes already, then you already have most of the shades that are in this palette. I'll just tell you that now. But if you don't, and you're looking for a great starter palette or one to amp up the color in your looks, you would love this one. The quality, so worth it. It's just an all-around great palette with so many combinations that you can create with it. Did we have any in common? Let me know your answers also below. Would love to hear your feedback on this tag. And if there are any other tags out there that you want to see me do, feel free to request them below. Somebody else had mentioned the foundation wardrobe tag. And there's another one. Emily Noel just came out with another one that was like $1,000 Sephora wish list, and I thought that was so interesting to see which ones she was picking out, which ones she was interested in. So that might be a really good one to do. Let me know. Thank you so much for being here, for taking the time to watch, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.